when you have an easy choice and a hard choice, there's value in choosing the hard choice. And really, to make it much simpler, is there's value in struggling. So regardless of success or failure, the most important part of the equation is, are you struggling? Because struggle brings growth. You might achieve or you might fail, but the struggle is the most important lever that you are choosing to bring into your life. So you may have a certain amount of results that you need to hit to achieve what you're going on. But if you're not mixing in enough struggle to do things that are beyond your current capabilities, you're not going to be pulling that lever of growth. So yes, you have to pick your times. You got to choose your things. You got to decide, is a cold shower a struggle for me that I need to overcome or not? And I don't know. There's no exact formula. But if you are not struggling on a daily basis, making choices to struggle, knowing that it's going to be hard, knowing that you might fail, then you're not pulling that growth lever enough to reach your epic potential.
What has been one of the grittiest decisions you've made, or where has grit shown up in your life such that you formed this whole structure around helping others build grit? So where has grit shown up for you?
Well, I mean, I went through my own personal 7-year extreme endurance adventure survival challenge phase where I was really trying to answer the question of what was I really like inside? Was I strong? Was I weak? Did I have what it takes to be a strong man, a strong leader, strong in my marriage? And I wasn't at the time. I was weak. I was a shortcut guy. I was taking the easy path. And I just knew that if I didn't fix that in an extreme way, the rest of my life would just be governed by that. So I started doing adventure races, survival events as my method of figuring out how to get strong in situations where I was always struggling. That was just my path through it. But what I took away from that after the 7-year journey is that I can do hard things on purpose in every area of my life. And I have no excuse to not do it because I've done the hardest things in the world. And so now I've taken out all that excuse layer of foundation to say, I know I can do it. I just have to decide to go through the struggle.
Put words, if you would, to the 7-year ago or whatever it was, weakness you called it, shortcut. Give me examples. Just so I have a sense of where were you when you say you were a shortcut guy and weak. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I would choose the easy, temporary fix way, quick.
Give me an example.
Every single day in business, there is whether I need to really invest the time and energy into getting a project right, or whether I put the window dressing on and just push it out because it's going to work today, tomorrow, but it's not going to work in 6 months or a year. Shortcutting decisions that are going to get jobs done now, but are going to leave me scrambling in the future because I didn't invest what needed to do. Or I took the easy way out of a conversation with a coworker, with a family member, with my wife, just trying to get the argument to go away rather than to deal with the hard stuff that was going on. So, I mean, that affected my relationship with my family, with my kids, affected my business decisions. And now on the other side of it, where I understand the value in having that hard decision, that hard conversation, that hard process, even if failure will be the end result of it, I value the struggle of going through it. To me, I've learned to look back and say, man, I was just shortcutting and really taking the easy way out on everything I was doing before.
Okay, that makes sense. I appreciate the context and the clarity on that. So today, well, shortly thereafter, you get into extreme races. Those are like big moves, big hard things. It feels like, to me at least. Tribe listeners, I have an extremely exciting announcement for all of you. Do you want to come hang out with Cody Sanchez, David Osborne, David Green, Rich Roll, and even yours truly down in Austin, Texas? Well, let's do it. May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, for the first time ever, GoBundance, the exclusive millionaire membership group, is opening up an event to anyone, man, woman, millionaire or not, and we're calling it the Austin Entrepreneurial Summit. At the AES, you'll meet all those people I mentioned, plus GoBundance members on both the men's and women's side, and I'll be there hanging out the entire time. Every event I've ever attended for GoBundance has given me a disproportionate return on the money spent and the time spent to get there. And this is the biggest one that GoBundance has ever done. So if you're a member, not a member, and you're looking to supercharge the second part of your year 2024, this event in May is a great way to get that all kickstarted. Go to GoBundance.com/AES right now for early bird pricing for members and guests. And warning, the power of GoBundance events is that it holds you accountable long after you're gone to achieving whatever goals you've set. So this event will change your life. GoBundance.com/AES. I'll see you there. Let's get back to the show. On a day-to-day basis, though, are there tactical, small steps, little things that you do or did or coach to build grit to the point where you have the larger, grittier event like an extreme race? In other words, on a day-to-day basis, getting out of the conversation, the obvious retort to that is, having the conversation, the hard conversation. But on an even lower scale, on a day-to-day, week-to-week, minute-to-minute for that matter, perspective, are there little things that you do that intentionally build grit that are maybe, something that, you wouldn't think of? It's clear to me when you do an extreme race, I get the grittiness of that. But what about on like just a day-to-day basis? Are there any tactics or things that you've done?
Sure. I mean, again, there's no one size thing. I can tell you 3 things that I did yesterday, but I can tell you most people may or may not resonate with those. From a practical standpoint, what it looks like is, okay, I go into the grocery store, I choose not to take a cart, and I choose to carry all the items through the grocery store to the checkout. Why? Because it's inconvenient, it's hard, it doesn't make any sense, but it's a mindset decision. It's a decision against convenience to doing things that are a little bit harder, more difficult on purpose. You park further away than you have to when you go to something because it makes you do more work. It makes you go through more inconvenience. When it's pouring outside, that's the time you decide to go outside for a workout instead go inside the gym that's all comfortable and nice. So these are all decisions where the decision tree is one is easy and one is hard. Mm. These are things that they're not going to kill you. They're not going to permanently damage you. There's no severe risk. You're just going to be uncomfortable and inconvenienced. And I think it's just a daily mindset that, hey, I'm going to have 100 choices today, or maybe 1,000 choices. And there's going to be an easy, convenient choice. And there's going to be other choices that are less convenient and less easy. And I'm going to try to choose a lot of less convenient, less easy choices. I have to balance that against, the amount of time I have and the amount of productivity I've got to get done. But having that mindset start there. And it's the same thing with events. People say, how did you do the death race? And why would you do something like that? Well, it didn't start with that. It started with what's something I can sign up for that's really hard that I'm not sure that I can complete. Well, it starts with that first 5K or that first 1 hour adventure race. And once you sign up and you say, I'm going to do it because it's hard, then you go into, well, how am I going to do it? Well, how am I going to do it is I got to get better at all these things that I'm not good at. And then you start to realize you have to rise up to the occasion of something you've committed to do, even though you don't know how to do it. So that's the same thing with work projects, with goals, with family goals, with monetary goals. Commit to it, something that you don't know how to do, that's too hard for you to do right now because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the stamina, you don't have the strength. Commit to it now, struggle to figure out if you can get it done. And again, the struggle is the most valuable part of the equation. You may or may not succeed, but the struggle is what's going to make you better the next time you go for it.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to hear this entire episode, the audio links are down below. But if you want to see another episode that we think you would enjoy on this channel, click right here.